you want to advance their Seraph one stage for them, you know?
That's right.
It is a very interesting interaction that's been changed. But Frostycup versus Disastrous Chin. It looks like Haven is making it through. So we make... The guy has Aldos.
I guess you're looking for a fight.
Stop it. Stop pointing these things out. Ooh, an interesting. A Runecraft deck running Sammy and Nova Flare.
Nova Flare.
The first person to actually listen to me and put Nova Flare into
now
one of their decks.
the question is, I mean, this feels like Sammy is only seen in some, you know, where Sammy lives. They say the word wielder lives as well. But
yeah, what? This is an interesting deck list. Is this
Hulking Giant?
Yeah. It could be Hulking Giant. Absolutely could be. I'm interested to see what this list is. We haven't gotten a chance to look at this one, but it's got some interesting cards so far.
So far, it's a pile of dirt.
I'm going to call it Abomination Awakened .control deck. We'll see if I'm right. We'll see if you're right. moving forward here.
Hulking Giant. Actually, there's some, you know, there's new cards that choose to discard Earthrights from hand. It's the...
Oh, right.
Changes it into spells.
The Titan, I believe. It's a Titan or Dragon or something like that. But yeah, Elder Dragon something, I believe the name of the card is. Sorry for butchering that name, guys, but it's an 8-play point follower. Yeah,
Did
something
you just
like
put
that.
all of them together?
Yeah, it turns all of your sigils into 2 play point, 3 damage spells to kind of end the game. It kind of does its, you know, Rose Queen impression for the new Dirt Rune as an end game. And we saw somebody try that last week, actually. And
comboed with Mysteria because they want to get more value out of each of their spells.
But we did not see it be too successful. It definitely got the person to the top 8, but couldn't finish
I still want to see. I mean, I like Mysteria's aesthetic. I just want Mysteria to be used more because it looks real cool.
Right. Mysteria is a great card. I think at Unlimited, Mysteria is going to super shine right now, but as more spells get introduced back to Runecraft over time, Mysteria will grow in value.
All right, we're looking at stuff right now.
And there it is. That's the one we were talking about.
Yep. I think it's a Silverblade Golem. Is that
Silverblade Golem.
Yeah.
So not a Titan, not a Dragon, a Golem instead. I was close, guys. Okay?
Silverblade Golem.
I
you
was
were 0 for 3
close.
on each of your turns.
Yeah.
You threw Elder Dragon Titan. What the heck?
Look, man, okay? In any case, this is a very similar list to what we saw last week. It's kind of like got the Control Dirt Rune package with a ton of removal, packing an end game that just tries to take all these sigils and turn them into just burn the face out, win the game. I actually want to see this deck work.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's against Dragon yet again, and I don't know if it's going to have the time to set up.
Just play the 7. What are you? Oh my gosh.
Top deck tilting when you're on 7 play points feels pretty good.
And there's just the Carl on board, which, I mean, still is kind of dangerous, actually.
Yeah.
Because you think about it.
It can gain some defense.
Yep.
But I'm pretty sure that's not scary enough to stop you from playing the tilting.
Are there any options that Root has? So there are some interesting things, right? So for example, if you have something like a Lurching Corpse, you actually mitigate a lot of the damage that tilting does. It still becomes, what, a 7 plus 6, potentially 8, right? Damage combo, but it's not OTK.
Runecraft actually does have more options than other classes in the form of Rite of Exorcism. It's a card I used to talk about a ton. I think it might have to come back, especially if you're trying to play a super late-game style of Runecraft deck. Not having straightforward amulet removal now that Petrification's gone, you do just kind of lose to tilting at windmills now. You know what I mean? So without that option, I feel like this game's going to get very hard for Frostycup.
All right, Frostycup, show us you mean business. I believe that's an Illusionist in hand. Which this is around the playpoint territory where you want to be seeing your Mysterias if they are in your deck. And that changes everything, right? It changes the math on all your spells. It scales very well, right? If you had no Mysteria, right, and 4 sigils or whatever it is, and you get, what, 4 by 3 damage, right? 12. You add a Mysteria in there, it goes up to 16. That can change a game from winnable to not winnable.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Watch these illusions.
And playing the Illusionist early because options are limited in the hand of Frostycup right now. Probably wanted to save that Illusionist for something like a Professor of Taboos, but not given the opportunity to.
Continuing to leave a follower on board is actually quite nice. Okay, so tilting does get played, and this is going to mean you can't actually remove that Illusionist. You can't combine the spells.
Yep.
Won't do enough, so this Illusionist is going to swing 6, which, again, right, you don't have the combo in hand. You take 6 damage. if that Silver Blade Golem comes down, you're getting pretty close. It all depends on what's off the top. You have 2 cards here, so you've got 7 plus 9 damage plus 2.
18.
Yep.
Almost there.
Almost there.
With the Saha Quill, though, you do have a 2-turn lethal. And I think that's going to shut the door out before Frostycup can get his endgame going.
There's the Mysteria.
Yeah, has everything you would expect you would want in this deck, right? The Mysteria, the endgame, you've got plenty of sigils.
Yeah.
You're still at 19, you've got everything going for you, except you're staring down this card that you don't have any options to deal with.
Yeah. And what feels really bad is, as a result of this Dread Sea combo, you're going to lose your runes on board as well.
That's right. Okay.
Yep.
A little overkill with tilting there.
I think there's a few. I do think you kind of want to wipe their board.
I think you have to save the Bahamut in this scenario for the lethal. I don't know if you can take that much time off and not just produce. I think this turn...
Oh, you don't lose your sigils.
Right, yeah. Sigils aren't getting destroyed by Bahamut now, but Saha Quill coming down to force the Queen of the Dread Sea or the Bahamut face, to board trade, while the Saha Quill can go face. You still get kind of like a half and half. I can control the board, set up my 2-turn lethal, and I'm not really scared. I don't think that this control Runecraft deck can deal me, an extra 12 if I deal with one of these followers.
Yeah. Has to...
So it
Really?
was you, after all.
Let's go.
So I
That's
haven't
also
seen this
an
interaction a lot. Does Bahamut actually gain tilting if you
No.
pull it in with Saha?
No, it does not. So tilting says, it doesn't say comes into play. It says if you played, essentially. So Saha Quill says put into play.
Needs to come from the hand.
That's right. Got to play.
Oh,
hand.
boy. I like it.
Yeah, it's.
You're getting more
Frostycup's
Wombo.
got there. I mean, next turn he's got the whole endgame set
Yeah.
up. Unfortunately, Chin has the kill in hand.
Oh, no. I wanted to see this work.
It won't be long now.
Yeah, and you may as well spend the evolution orb.
Do it. Try to give yourself as much protection to keep something in play as you can. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
not enough.
Queen of the Dread Sea. Exactly what Chin dreads to see. And that's going to mean losing is what Frostycup is going to be.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But we do possibly get another attempt to see what this Runecraft deck has going for it. I mean, again, if it's not just happening 1 week, putting somebody in a top 8, it's happening 2 weeks in a row. There's got to be something going for this deck.
Yeah.
But again, I'm going to keep calling this into question, guys. Why are you not banning the Dragoncraft deck when it is the deck that just beats your options? You know what I mean? When you don't have the things to deal with it. It's so surprising to me.
Yeah. It's tough, and as we see, you don't need the perfect combo to close the game out with tilting, right? You need some combination of some stuff.
Yeah, just a couple things at the end of the game.
And I think what's interesting, too, is, I do really appreciate all these different decks that are being brought here, right? We see the only class that we haven't seen really today is Forest. I think it got banned, actually.
Yeah,
the
Forestcraft has not been showing up. Like last week, it was all over the place. It was the counter to Burncraft. I keep saying that now. That's what it feels like these days. Burn Runecraft. But because Burn Runecraft got kind of taken a back seat to Daria now, maybe the Forestcraft deck doesn't really have as many good matchups outside of that as it needs to compete, really.
It is. They also have Abomination.
There is Abomination.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Pieces of the puzzle are coming together. This looks like a fun deck to play.
Absolutely. And I think, you know what? Now that I've seen Abomination Awaken in this deck, that could be a vital piece that it's been missing in the early game that we've been noticing. Because Abomination Awaken can actually just win the game by itself. It's so large. The first evolution turn, you're taking a 3 play point follower, turning it into a 6/6. I mean, it already is, but that can attack. And then you just protect it for a couple turns.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes, even with a good board state, you can't stop the Abomination Awaken from evolving.
It's rough.
Gonna put down Carl, and I think this is a great choice. Putting the 2/3 and the healing pseudo ward, right? Saying, hey, Jin, do you want to keep this up, or do you want to throw both of your followers in to deal with this?
And I feel like Frostycup's deck is a deck that can deal with neutral blood. It's got options. It's got heals. It's got board clears.
It's also got removal spells.
It's got removal spells, absolutely.
You've got strong piercing rune turns. You've got Professor of Taboos as well,
which can honestly just take over an aggro match.
Yeah.
Once you resolve a Professor of Taboos and just get like a full board's worth of value,
Yeah.
really hard to come back from that army
And
of
again,
zombies.
like we mentioned with something like Neutral Blood, right? It's not like you have these options like Master Mage, Levi, or Mutagenic Bolt or anything like that.
Right.
If you're facing down a 4-follower, 5-follower wide board, you just kind of have to have the options in play to swing plus an evolution turn, and that's about as good as you can wish for.
That's right. And honestly, it probably won't happen next turn, but if it does, Abomination on evolution turns, the turn after actually. If you just use that to evolve over any follower, you're presenting this threat to the board that basically says any threat you evolve into this is going to get lost. It just produces this nice board presence.
And I think that's the play. Oh, interesting. Well, this might change things.
Oh, interesting. Choosing to get rid of the follower to take as much damage off the board as possible. I cannot hate on that play. Against a deck like this, every damage you can take off the table early, the better.
Yeah. We're starting to curve up. You have 2 points of damage if you choose to evolve the Luriel. And I think that is good. I mean, not that Chin has perfect information, but evolving the Luriel meaning that you still get that turn. Okay, you evolve the Goblin. I think that works too, because then on the next turn you can still evolve the Luriel if it's there.
That's right. And this is a really nice damage push, and unfortunately, this seems to be the turn that's really hurting Frostycup, but does top deck a Gingerbread House right at the right moment to go alongside his Dwarven Alchemist play here. Without that, I was going to say, turn 5 looks like the weakest turn for this deck. It just doesn't have a good option.
Yeah. Being able to remove a bunch, and now we're getting into the time period of Professor Taboo.
That's right. So this is going to have to be a huge push this turn from Chin. I think he recognizes that. He doesn't really have a lot of options to not push here. It's like Savage
still
Wolf.
a lot of damage. That Angel of the Word.
Yep.
Savage Wolf too. You could just choose to push past. I think it's unfortunate because there's not a 2 play point turn. I think going wide on the board is absolutely what you would have wanted on this turn.
Yep. Unfortunately, just 1 threat. I think the Savage Wolf will get played here. There is a thought, I suppose, to just saving those for later for more burn damage. However, I feel like the faster you can put the heat on Frostycup, the less time he has to actually run away with this game.
Interesting. I might Angel of the Word, evolve face, and then on the next turn double Savage Wolf.
Yep, also a great play. That way you can actually deal with the board as well. Can't trade into any of your threats. Will force possibly the last Evolution Orb out of Frostycup.
It looks like that's what he's going to be going for.
Hey, check this out.
Double evolved Goblin. Where's the gosh, the card that everybody sees in Take Two?
Oh, the new Goblin Lord? Is that what you're talking about?
The if 2 evolution orbs are on, or if 2 evolved followers are on your side of the board.
Oh, Simulacrum? No, we don't talk about that card, okay?
Why?
Because it's awful. Completely terrible.
Oh
and
my God!
getting the evolved follower there.
Yeah. 2, you're done. Got you.
Set that game up perfectly, and Frostycup, unfortunately, is going to get knocked out. Every time we see this deck in top 8, it just
I want to see it
doesn't
work.
get there.
I want to see it work. We even have Carl for healing. And maybe it is a lack of just ward. I mean, I guess the board control was not phenomenal, right? The turn 4, the turn 5 is not quite as swingy as one would have preferred. Are there good answers in Rune to do that? I feel like if you can bridge that gap, right, especially looking at the game state in terms of, Rune, Daria, right? Like, do you have the cards to survive the early turns of that? Do you have the cards to